When children are healthy and well-nourished, they're able to fully benefit from learning experiences. Acute and chronic illnesses, poor diets, maltreatment, mental health issues, and undetected health impairments can interfere with a child's learning via loss of interest. It's hard to be interested when you're hungry, for example, and therefore it impacts their involvement and performance. Additionally, if there's a congenital issue, for example, a mild hearing loss, it can distort a child's language development, perception of sounds, pronunciation of sounds, etc. Even a quick cold or toothache can impact a student, or a change in routine. When I was teaching, many of my students were on medication for behavioral issues, and when their medication was switched, it always took a week or two of adjustment in their learning routine, and many of the activities or lessons had to be repeated. Teachers observe children every day for multiple continuous hours and are therefore in a great position to monitor children's health and note early signs of learning issues. Not only are they in a great position to monitor, they are crucial to the process. And teachers are just one of the individuals that can help identify issues. There's a whole group or team of people who can assess students' health, and the group each have different assessment tools outside of observation. It's important to have a variety of assessments to help understand as much as possible and reduce bias and errors. For example, if a child comes to school and on a random Wednesday begins to slightly substitute the W sound, W, for the L sound, L, it wouldn't be a reason to call for an immediate speech assessment. It would make sense to review any of your own notes to see if this behavior has happened before, or to ask the caregivers if they have seen a change, only to find out that the kid had been at the dentist that morning and his or her tongue or gum or cheek or all of them were numb. Schools and early childhood programs make significant contributions to children's wellness by providing on-site health care, educational programs, safe learning environments, and nutritious meals. Monitoring or observing daily can help kids stay healthy and engaged. It also helps the teacher better understand and know their student, and therefore it can help them plan for their learning. Daily health checks can also help identify kids who might be ill, for example, with the flu, and then remove them from the other children to help reduce the spread of germs and keep everyone as healthy as possible. Now, this can be difficult because the germs are likely already have spread if the child is showing specific signs, but it can still be helpful. I always got whatever it was the kids had until I'd been teaching a couple of years, and then my immunity, had been built up. However, now individuals are much more vigilant about the spreading of germs and, doing a better job of hand washing, wearing masks. So I'm encouraged. The health checks don't need to be lengthy. Most days they can be a quick 1 to 2 minutes. As previously mentioned, families can also help provide information. And they should. As outside of you, that is likely who the child sees the most. You can do a quick observation when the child enters the room, checking the facial expressions, posture, cleanliness, balance, etc. Observing the child-caregiver interaction can also help give you some information. For example, what level of independence does the child show or indicate? Is the dyad communicating with each other? How are they communicating? Additional health checks might include using a flashlight to do a quick mouth check, checking the skin for any rashes or bruises. There's a checklist in the textbook that's quite helpful, and you can use these to record your observations and also to write additional notes. This is called anecdotal information, the additional notes, that is. It is useful to be as specific as possible. Not only does it help provide a transparent picture of what you observed, and therefore anyone reading the notes would understand what you were attempting to say, it can also support the identification of patterns. For example, is it every Wednesday that the kid is saying instead of "woo"? Do they go to the dentist every Wednesday? Again, that's a kind of a silly example. but patterns are important. The information that you're gathering is confidential and should only be shared with the approved individuals. This can vary with each family, and there are forms, or you can create one, to help identify the necessary people in the family that the family is comfortable having this information. Ideally, teachers have created an atmosphere where families feel comfortable sharing their concerns and asking questions. Teachers can foster this by sharing information about outbreaks of communicable illnesses, signs and symptoms, effective preventive measures like hand washing. This also helps parents and caregivers be more aware and ready to communicate that something is different. For example, they had a dentist appointment. While teachers can note impairments, they cannot diagnose, and the primary responsibility of a child's health care always belongs to the family. They are the caregivers, the family are the ones who are responsible for maintaining their kids' well-being. Cultural differences in developmental expectations and child rearing practices may explain why different courses of action are sought. Ideally, cost should not discourage families from obtaining medical attention. Many programs attempt to assist in offering free or low-cost health care services for children, and that's a huge benefit to being in a school. Health education for children and parents is useful and can obviously promote health and learning. Families are more likely to support a school's health education goals when efforts are made to help the whole family engage and learn.